Why is it that whenever you're truly alone, the world seems to slow down? Silence embraces you, but instead of fear, there's a strange relief. Most people avoid this state, flooding every moment with noise, screens, and pointless chatter. They're afraid to meet the person looking back at them from the mirror. But what if inside that silence is the greatest secret of human freedom? German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, whose ideas slice through society's cheerful illusions, believes something shocking. Being alone isn't punishment. It's a higher privilege, and only at the end will you understand why those who learn to love solitude have found what most people spend their whole lives searching for, but never find. People who can be alone without inner turmoil possess a rare psychological strength. They don't need anyone to validate their existence. At first, they don't know what's happening, but then they realize society hands out endless roles and masks. When we're with others, we act. We adapt to expectations, smooth off our edges, suppress what might seem odd or out of place. Psychologists call this social conformity, a mechanism that keeps you safe in a group but slowly erodes your true self. Most people don't realize their thoughts, desires, and even emotions are dictated not by them, but by the people around them. In solitude, these masks fall away. Only then can you hear your true voice, undrowned by the noisy chorus of other people's opinions. Don't forget to subscribe and like if this topic resonates with you. There are many more psychological discoveries ahead. Most people don't realize that their attitude towards solitude isn't based on personal experience, but on cultural programming. From childhood, we're told that being alone means you're a loser. The child who plays by themselves is a concern to adults. The teen who avoids crowds seems odd. The adult who seeks solitude is suspicious. What's wrong with them? This programming buries itself deep in our psyche, forging a false link between being alone and being defective. Few people know that being comfortable alone is a mark of maturity. It's a skill that comes only when your inner world is rich enough that you don't need constant stimulation from outside. Schopenhauer wrote, "The more a person has in themselves, the less they'll need from others." Those who run from solitude are really running from inner emptiness. Imagine someone who, after a long workday, doesn't rush to turn on the TV, grab their phone, or find company. They simply sit in silence. People may ask, "Don't you get bored?" But boredom isn't the feeling at all. What they feel is restoration. In that quiet, their nervous system unwinds from always reacting to the world. They're not acting for the audience. They're just being themselves. This isn't withdrawal from life. It's coming home. Or picture a woman who spends a whole weekend alone. No calls, no obligations. At first, she's nervous. It's so unusual. But that anxiety is soon replaced by something deeper. She starts to hear her own thoughts, the ones usually drowned out by everyday noise. She realizes many of her choices weren't really hers, but done to please others. Solitude becomes a tool for self-discovery. Why does this happen? The answer lies deep in psychology and brain science. When you're in a social setting, your brain goes into constant scanning mode, reading micro-expressions, tones, gestures, hidden meanings. This burns huge amounts of energy. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's social interaction center, works overtime. Alone, this switches off, and a different network activates, the brain's default mode, responsible for self-reflection, creative thinking, and deep insight. Neuroscientists have discovered that in these moments of solitude, the brain integrates experiences and forms new neural connections. Artists and thinkers have known this forever. The best ideas never come in a crowd, but alone, in a quiet room, on a solitary walk, when you're truly with yourself. Few people know that solitude has secret signals, visible only to those who get it. Those who are comfortable alone act differently in public. They're not desperate to fill silences, to keep the conversation going non-stop. Their presence feels calm, centered. They don't crave approval because they've learned to approve of themselves. It creates a paradox. Those who don't need people often attract them most. Their energy is light, not needy. It's free. Schopenhauer called this the aristocracy of the spirit, true self-sufficiency. It's not arrogance, not contempt for others. Just knowing your value isn't tied to how many people surround you. How does this affect relationships? Paradoxically, people who are comfortable alone have healthier connections. Why? Because they don't go into relationships out of need. They choose them. They aren't looking for rescue from their own emptiness. They arrive already whole, able to give without being drained. Others can't understand why these people are so hard to manipulate. Because if you're not afraid to be alone, you're not afraid to lose someone. You know that solitude isn't a disaster, it's an opportunity. That's an inner power nobody can fake. Schopenhauer wrote, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. He who does not love solitude does not love freedom. For only when you are alone are you truly free." Their subconscious automatically activates defense mechanisms when socializing gets too intense. The psyche knows if you lose yourself in another person, you lose yourself. Period. So a subtle signal emerges, I need some space. That's not selfishness, it's self-preservation. Psychologists call it healthy boundaries. People who lack this mechanism are prone to codependency, burnout, and losing their identity. They live through others because they're afraid to look inward. But those who can return to themselves in solitude restore their energy, clarity, and wholeness. It's not escaping people, it's returning to yourself, so you can go back out into the world from a place of strength, not weakness. Within all this lies a profound truth about human nature. We are social, but we are also alone. We need others, but we also need a relationship with ourselves. Without one, the other falls apart. If you can't be alone, relationships become toxic, full of neediness and control. If you can't be with others, your solitude turns to isolation. Wisdom is in the balance. Schopenhauer taught us to enjoy solitude, but not avoid connection, to value deep bonds, but not depend on them for our sense of self. It's a dance between intimacy and autonomy, between the world and your own soul. One of the greatest gifts of solitude is meeting your true self. In the world, we play roles: the professional, the friend, the partner, the parent. But behind all these masks lives the one who simply is. With no function, no achievements, no judgments, just being. And you can only meet that you in solitude. Here the real questions appear. Who am I, really? What do I want? Deep down, what matters to me? You can't answer them in the daily noise. They require time, silence, space. People who avoid solitude often reach middle age only to realize, I lived someone else's life, did what was expected, not what I truly wanted. That painful insight comes from ignoring the lessons of solitude. For Schopenhauer, solitude wasn't just a feeling, it was a philosophical category. He believed the world is full of suffering because people live caught in illusions of importance, permanence, meaning. Society upholds these illusions because without them, it would fall apart. But solitude destroys these illusions. It puts you face to face with reality. You are mortal, your accomplishments temporary, the world indifferent to your ambitions. Sounds grim, but Schopenhauer saw liberation in this. Accepting reality as it is stops you from chasing ghosts and lets you value real moments over endless status seeking. Solitude teaches humility, not humiliation, but acceptance of your place in the universe. You're not the center of existence, but part of something greater, and in that, there is peace. Here's the biggest surprise. Solitude isn't the absence of connection, but a different kind of connection. Not with people, but with something deeper. Some call it connection with yourself, others with nature, being God, or the Absolute. The name doesn't matter, the experience does. In deep solitude, you realize you are never truly alone, not because someone else is there, but because you're part of something boundless. Mystics of all traditions knew this. They weren't escaping people, but pursuing this secret. Schopenhauer learned from Eastern philosophy, true solitude isn't about isolation, but dissolving your ego's boundaries. When you're alone, the little I quiets down, and something greater opens up. What does solitude bring? Freedom. From other people's expectations, from social roles, from the constant need to prove your worth. Clarity, because silence reveals what really matters. Strength, because those who are unafraid to be alone are unafraid of almost anything. Depth, because only in solitude can you peer into your soul's deepest corners. And, in a paradoxical way, connection, with your real self, with the world, with the mystery of existence. So back to that opening question, why have those who learn to love solitude found what most people spend a lifetime seeking? Because they stopped searching outside for what can only be found within. They realized happiness isn't about how many friends you have, how exciting your life looks, or whether the crowd applauds you. Happiness is the ability to be alone in the world, not running, not distracting yourself, not drowning out the silence. It doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means finding your inner anchor so that when you go back out into the world, when you love, create, connect, you do so from a place of fullness, not need. Schopenhauer was right. Solitude is no punishment, but a gift for those ready to receive it. And if you feel alone right now, maybe it isn't a problem to solve, but an invitation to meet your real self. No masks, no roles, no fear. What will you find in that silence? There's no way to know until you try. One thing is sure, those who dare to enter rarely regret it. Subscribe, like and share this video if deep psychological topics matter to you. Your support helps us make more videos like this. There's one more paradox Schopenhauer understood better than most. The deeper you think, the harder it is to find kindred spirits. It's not arrogance, it's simple mathematics. Those who build a rich inner world see layers of reality that others don't notice. They appreciate nuance, ask unsettling questions. This creates distance, not because they feel superior, but because their perception is, by nature, different. In a crowd, they can feel lonelier than when actually alone, surrounded, but unseen. Schopenhauer called this the lot of the great mind, not as tragedy, but as fact. But there's a bright side. Those who pass through loneliness and don't break acquire something special, inner independence. They no longer need constant validation. They're not cold or uncaring. In fact, they become more sensitive because they've learned to listen to subtle signals in themselves and others. But it's not from fear of rejection, but deep understanding of human nature. They know everyone is alone to a degree, carrying experiences others will never fully understand. That doesn't divide us, it unites us. When you accept your own solitude, you stop demanding the impossible from others, total merging, complete understanding. Instead, you learn to value what's possible, moments of real connection, glimpses of mutual understanding, shared silence that says more than words ever could. Modern life does everything to keep us from being alone. Tech, social media, endless entertainment. They create the illusion of connection while deepening inner emptiness. We scroll, like, message, but feel more isolated than ever. Why? Because real connection demands presence. With yourself, then with another. And presence is impossible without comfort in solitude. If you can't be alone, you can't truly be with anyone. You'll always run. From boredom into distraction, meaningless activity. Schopenhauer, writing in the 19th century, saw this coming. Society would soon fill every second with noise, for it fears those who think. A thinker is dangerous to a system running on autopilot and conformity. So what do? Schopenhauer didn't preach running from society. He called for conscious choice, with whom, when, and why you interact. He taught us to judge the quality of connection. Better one deep conversation a month than daily shallow talk. Better a few hours alone with a book, music, or your thoughts than endless doom scrolling. Better a chosen time of solitude than chronic loneliness in a crowd. This takes courage, the courage to go against everything you've been told. Be social, stay connected, always be seen. But those who find this courage discover another dimension of life, one measured in moments of depth, not numbers of contacts. And most important, solitude is a practice. It's not an inborn gift. It's a skill to build up. At first, it may feel awkward, even scary. Anxiety appears, the urge to escape. That's normal. The psyche resists the unknown. But if you stay with the discomfort, something shifts. The anxiety fades and silence grows. And in that silence, you discover you're not empty. Inside is an entire world that's been waiting for your attention. Start simple, 10 minutes a day, without phone, music, or book. Just sit. Watch your thoughts pass. Feel your breath, your body. It's a tiny exercise, but it's a gateway to something bottomless. Eventually, those 10 minutes will become an island of peace in your chaotic day, a place you'll return to reconnect with yourself.